Hey guys, welcome back to another Dragonheir Silent Gods video. Today we're going to be talking about the 4th dungeon you unlock throughout your progress of Dragonheir, and that is the Heretical Ruins. It is a dungeon where you can farm your positive runes for all of your heroes. So if we jump over to there, let's have a look at what we've actually got to encounter in this fight. So as you can see, we are fighting the Dead Phoenix Fire. If we have a look at his information, the first skill will actually be cast twice when you're fighting this boss. So its skill is to spew fireballs at the current enemy and splash on all enemies inflicted with burn, dealing fire damage. As I say, it will repeat this skill twice before the third skill, which is when it hatches any of the phoenix eggs that have spawned. If at least one phoenix nestling is reborn, consequently the phoenix will gain invisibility, making you unable to target it with single target skills for 12 seconds. And then finally, we've got its ultimate skill, where it will deal fire damage to all enemies, inflicting 2 stacks of burn for 12 seconds. As with all of the dungeon bosses, it is immune to control effects. And now if we look at the corrupted phoenix eggs, these are obviously what hatch into the phoenixes. And once they reach 100% ultimate energy, they will start to cast Eternal Fire on the boss. So it will heal the boss for 1% of its max HP every 1 second, and grant it 1 stack of total damage bonus permanently. Obviously you want to avoid this happening, so you want to make sure you're killing these phoenixes before they reach 100% ultimate energy and begin to buff and heal the boss. So if we have a look at the team I'm using today, and obviously this is on stage 9, the hardest difficulty. I'm using Furbath as my tank. This isn't necessarily required, I just choose to use him. He's the tank that I've got built for nearly all content, and he is using the Crown of the Unclean artifact. Obviously his main use here is the healing he provides, but also the attack penalty, which is vital. You could actually replace him as the healer and obviously subsequently bring more healing in. However, as long as you're timing your skills correctly in this fight, it shouldn't actually be needed. I am using Hexandra just as a little bit of a backup healer. You'll see at the end of this run here, realistically she doesn't need to be here. She could be replaced by another damage dealer, or you could obviously have her doing the bulk of the healing over Furbath. Now we've got Tononen in this team. I am using Tononen because of his single target damage. Realistically, this could be anybody. I just wanted somebody who can kill the phoenixes quickly and also deal good damage to the boss while the phoenixes are dead already. So I'm using the Eyeball of the Giant artifact on my Tononen. This is normally on my Sigrid throughout dungeon runs, but through this preset I just had it on Tononen because Sigrid wasn't actually part of my original team. Sigrid is in the build that I've used in all of the other dungeons. The only difference here is the artifact. Obviously I'm using the rare version, Volcanic Disc, just to get some attack and damage bonus on the ultimate skill. Adolphus is just built with Enlightenment, and also he's got the set that increases your attack on all of your allies after using his ultimate skill, using the artifact to increase his ultimate shields further. So if we have a look here, obviously these are positive runes. This is what you're going to be farming from this dungeon. They do provide a huge boost of stats for your heroes, and so they are definitely worth upgrading and farming as many as you can that are obviously going to provide you the stats you're looking for. So as I've obviously explained the skills already, I will just go into the skill timings that I've got set up here. Obviously the skills that this boss uses, it's got 4 skills, each with a 6-second recharge time. So it's a 24-second casting interval needed to use their abilities once per rotation. So I've got my Adolphus using his shield just before the ultimate skill's used. My Furbath is using his just after the phoenixes spawn to place attack penalty on all of them, followed by my damage dealers using their abilities, their ultimate abilities on the phoenixes. And Hexandra is healing just after the second repeat of the first skill, just to top everybody up before the ultimate skills start to come around. So if we have a little look through the run, see how that actually plays out. So as you can see here, obviously it repeats that first skill twice. It's just going to attack Furbath at the moment because nobody has burn debuffs. And then at this point, this is when the phoenixes spawn. So I put my debuffs out, I start to damage these, and then Adolphus is going to shield my team just before the ultimate skill hits. Obviously this is when the burn is inflicted and when the boss is going to start doing extra attacks on the first 2 skills. So as you can see, it bounces between the rest of my team. So the key to this is making sure that the phoenixes are dying quickly. I'm not sure why that one hasn't actually died straight away. not something that often happens. But now each time they're spawning, my DPS should be just clearing them out quickly and just making sure we sustain throughout the rest of the fight. If you do pick up a couple of buffs on the boss in this encounter, it shouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But just to be sure, obviously make sure you are using heroes who are capable of killing these phoenixes where possible. So I'll let this run play out, I'll jump back in at the end of it and we'll talk about some other heroes who could come in as replacements on this. There are so many different options you could bring for the damage slots at least, especially. Obviously Sigrid is a great option because of how accessible she is, but there are other rares as well and other epics who could fill the spot of Tonelman. So I'll speak to you at the end of the run. And there we go. As I said at the start, obviously this is an incredibly easy fight as long as you are getting the targeting priority correct. Obviously saving your ultimate skills for when the little phoenixes do come out, because they are the biggest problem you'll face in this fight. The fact that they obviously buff and heal the boss, you do not want that to happen. So as long as you're killing those as quickly as possible, you're going to have very little issues apart from making sure that you've got enough stats to survive. So if we have a look here, obviously I mentioned that Hexandra was doing very, very little. Obviously, realistically, Adolphus did the bulk of the healing here as well. Furibath's healing wasn't necessarily needed, so you could very easily swap him out for a tank who doesn't heal and bring in, obviously, keep Hexandra in to cover that gap. Obviously, as well as that, you could just ditch her completely and bring in an extra DPS to speed this up. So in terms of replacements, obviously, I'm not going to mention any replacements for the rares because they are so good. However, like I mentioned, the damage dealers could be absolutely anybody. You want to focus on getting your elemental bonus, obviously, with your team. So if you're using a Radiance team, make sure you're using some Rally or Rally or Dauntless damage dealers. Same goes for obviously all of the other affinities. I, in theory, could have used Eric, the free legendary we all get along with Tonelman, to make the wild pairing. It would probably speed things up a little bit, but Sigrid is so accessible. So I do choose to use her in this. I did choose to use her in this run. You could also use Eric instead of Tonelman. The damage would be slightly less, but you'd still be able to kill the phoenixes in time, and you'd still be able to kill the boss. So thank you very much, guys, for watching this video. If you are interested in the content I'm putting out, please do remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.